I had to add this to the beginning of the video. I just want to say I have this book I wrote. Please support my work. You know, I'm struggling a little bit. Please support my work by buying a copy of my book. There's an Amazon link. You can also cash at me if you're in the United States, and I can mail you a copy. And yeah, I really appreciate that. So there's a link down in the description. Also, United States Communist Party website. There's going to be a lot more on there soon. I'm putting that in the description too. Thank you. Hello, I hope whoever's watching this today is doing well. I'm making this video today entitled My Experience Being a Communist Around Hippies. I'm started making this video yesterday, and I deleted the whole thing. I had like 2 long videos because I felt like it wasn't really organized. I was going to actually get some notes and just go by notes because there's so much I wanted to relay in this video. But I decided that, you know, I don't need the notes, you know, and I'm going to make another video. I'm probably not going to post it all up too much anyways, but more like an introduction to this to explain like my earlier life. I'm 23 now. When I was 17, I traveled hitchhiking and hopping freight trains around the country. I went to California. Had a little hippie experience, you know, and then I came back to the East Coast, and I've been working for years until last year, you know, when I got laid off because of coronavirus. But basically, I'm going to talk about my recent time here in California and how it compares, I guess, not only to my communist views and me being communist, but also to how it is on the East Coast where I'm from, even in the New York and North Carolina, because I'm from like both places, but yeah, how the culture is different, even on different sides of the country. So the first thing I want to say, on the East Coast, there's both of these types of people and cultures on both sides. I'll say that right now. But there's a predominance of certain cultures in different parts of the country. On the West U.S., I like to say West U.S. because a lot of people say West Coast, but it's more than the coast. Even Arizona, Colorado, Salt Lake City, places like that, they're all in this as well. New Mexico, Nevada. This West Coast or West U.S., the predominant culture is a spiritual hippie culture, naturalist, people who believe in nature and being vegetarian or vegan a lot, and I'm not gonna try to describe it too much, but on the East Coast, there's more of like a gangster vibe, you know. There's a lot of gangster vibe in different areas of the West U.S. too, and there's definitely hippies in scattered parts of the East U.S. But there's more of a predominance of this me versus you attitude, where over on the West it seems there's more of a predominance of a brotherly, you know, like a lot of people here, they're like, oh, I love you, brother, or stuff like that, and they're all like, they're a lot more friendly, you know. So one thing is the United States culture really struggles with dogmaticism, or dogmatism is, I think, might be the correct word. So the thing about dogmatism, Mao Zedong explains this very well, and on theory, on practice, where do correct ideas come from, and on contradiction, those are just a few works that you can read by him to understand these concepts more. But there's a difference between dogmatism and science. Dogmatism thinks that things are just the way they are, everything is fixed, and everything is just the way it is. It is what it is. On the East U.S., there's a predominance of religious especially in the Bible Belt, what they call the Bible Belt, the southeastern part of the United States. But even in the north as well, there's still a dogmatic, but it's a little bit different, you know. And I may touch on another video, but even in the West U.S., there's this dogmatism, but it's a more spiritual, natural, earth dogmatic view. In the West U.S., there's this prevailing belief that the consciousness creates the reality. This has been a view that's been passed down throughout history, throughout mankind's history. Well, humankind's history. In the East United States, in the Bible Belt, mostly where I grew up, there's this more of a religious belief that, you know, God created everything. That science, that man's understanding, I just want to say sorry. I try to say man's or mankind or stuff like that. I don't know why I'm doing it so much right now. You know, I'm trying to have more, you know, politically correct language. So, excuse me for that. But that humans cannot. It's this overall pervading belief in the whole culture of the southeastern United States. Most people feel this way. Most working class people, that humans cannot understand like God. That God is this eternal, dogmatic force that controls everything, and that everything is the way it is. A lot of people believe that Jesus is coming back one day, and things just are gonna be the way they are. And in Marxism, it is explained that this has been purposely, and a lot of times not for a long period of time, likely not consciously, but it's even unconsciously the ruling classes of society. Before capitalism, we had the kings and the queens and the lords and the ladies. The ruling classes of society accepted this view because it suited them. And there's a concept called cultural hegemony. The ruling class sets like the standard for society and sets the norms, you know. That's a whole nother topic, but basically they've projected this image and this ideal that things just are the way they are because that suits them in their position. If they accept the fact that the world is ever changing, that we live in an ever-changing reality, and you know things progress, and you know things just aren't the way they are, things change, then they're accepting that the rule can be challenged. Even today, there's this dogmatic view very prevalent in the United States, where so many people are indoctrinated to believe that capitalism is just this eternal force that, you know, cannot be stopped. So Mao explains this really well, what I was saying earlier in those books I mentioned by him. He explains very well that in the beginning of history, when humans evolved from animals, from the monkeys, from the apes, when we started to become more humanoid, first our upright posture affected our perspective. When we began to walk on two legs, you know, we began to see more a broad view of the world. And in that way, our consciousness evolved. You know, we gained a higher consciousness because our relationship with our environment was improved, and we had more of a scope. Then we began to make tools. By making tools, we were able to affect our environment, and therefore so many new possibilities in our mind were created on what we could do. So this raised our consciousness to a higher level of understanding. Like if I'm just sitting here and I'm an early human before tools, I'm like, every day just consists of me basically being an animal running around trying to find something to eat, trying to find somewhere to sleep. But when I have tools, I'm like, okay, now I can create stuff. I can change my environment to suit my needs. And then I can perceive of so much higher things and so much broad concepts. And this has continued and developed to now where we have so much control over our environment. We control the entire ecosystem, like almost everything. So this has caused humans to have this vain, prideful thought in their minds. I call it vain and prideful, really, that their consciousness is that the material world is subservient to their consciousness, because their consciousness has progressed where they're able to control so much in their environment. The human race has this thought that with their consciousness, whatever they perceive, they can make it be, and that the world will always adapt to what their consciousness, what their conscious level is. And that's a big deal in this hippie spiritual community. They talk about the power of manifestation, and I do believe in manifestation. I do believe that if you, and what they call the law of attraction, where if you think about something really hard enough and you feel the feeling of gratefulness for it, and then you commit productive action to make it happen, and it's something realistic, then you can make it happen. And that really helps, especially focusing on something that helps your brain begin to unconsciously work on that problem. And then later, sometimes things will surface to your conscious that your brain's been working out this problem you've been focusing on and how you can get that. So when you think of something, that's neuroscience, When you think of something really hard for so long, your brain begins to subconsciously and unconsciously try to work out how to achieve this thing that you're seeing in your physical plane, how to materially manifest it. There's a lot of hippies and spiritual people that think that if you just envision love and peace, that the world will be more love and peaceful. And on a small scale, in their local communities, especially here in California, they are right to an extent. They are. A lot of these people, these hippies, where they have their own trades, they may sell healing crystals or do work like that, and they do these ceremonies where they consciously state their intentions and their feelings. And a lot of these spiritual people, they talk deep about their feelings and their perceptions, and they use a lot of these terms that are actually just different terms for psychological phenomena. And so, as I've studied psychology for years, and sociology, it's easy for me to talk to these people, and even spirituality, it's easy for me to talk to these people on that level. And, from studying both these different things, the spirituality in my younger years and the psychology and the sociology, this spirituality is just another word for this psychology and sociology a lot of times. And, real scientific phenomena, are just expressed in this kind of dogmatic spiritual. And I think this is an effect of such a long repression on people trying to know higher things, For so long, the occult world, so to speak, has researched these hidden things, these hidden concepts of the mind. That's what the occult or esoteric means, like hidden. It's hidden knowledge. And even early alchemists, they helped improve medicine and science. They were basically the first scientific kind of people dealing with those things. And so I think that's affected the human race to where these people, they're still clinging to this old kind of what they would say paradigm or outlook on this, where we now have this new system. We created this scientific system where we've uh, really defined a lot of psychological and sociological phenomena in a scientific way, and these spiritual concepts, and that I really am religious in myself. I believe in God. That doesn't affect my scientific outlook, you know. And so the fact that I do believe in God as well, I believe God is a universe, and I believe the Marxist view is that we can change our conditions by studying the natural laws of the earth, and by studying them we can figure out what we need to change and what variables in our reality we need to manipulate in this sociological and environmental experiment called life. And so, as I said, Mao explains it very well, that these people have this view, and it's been for so long they've had this view, and it's been very helpful. Dogmaticism, having a sense of faith, you know, I'm writing a lot on it, so I'll talk about all that later, you know. But I want to make it clear that these hippies or spiritual people, they really are doing good work in their local communities, and I fully support them. This friend of mine, I've told her a few times. She's this hippie girl, and she makes a living selling crystals and stuff like that, and she's really compassionate and loving and all about peace and love and spiritual practice, and she does little rituals, and I can see a lot of the psychological and work she's doing, you know? And I told her many times, I said, I want a world with more people like you in it. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, a lot of communists, they are mad at hippies. Like, yo, you're not really helping, you're being liberal, because you think that everything can be solved with peace and love, but there's actual people using violence, oppressing the working class of this country, and even worse, the working classes of other countries, and even worse, the minorities of, not worse in other countries, but even worse in the most of the working class, the minorities in the working class, even more so than us white people, And so the thing is, these people are doing good. It's just everybody has a different role. As I said, in our revolutionary struggle, everybody has a different role. My only thing that I would say is, I try to talk with every different group of people, every different workforce, every different type of working class person in the United States, and these people are definitely one type of working class people. Even if some of them don't have jobs, even the unemployed are still working class, So the only thing is, I just hopefully try to broaden their perspective a little bit, and understand our struggle, and support us communists in our mission, because the communists want peace, but we realize that unless the masses of people, the working class people, the common people, group together with arms and show that they are capable of grouping together and defending themselves and coming together as a consolidated force, and saying that they have a right to determine their own destiny, and sticking to that, and doing that, and not letting the oppressors rule us anymore. This is our goal. So I talked to a lot of hippies recently. There's a lot of different types of little cultures in the United States, but the hippies definitely have a place in my heart, you know, and I hope some of them will understand this Marxism more and communism, because some of them, a lot of them are really open-minded people and willing to hear me out, you know. Some of them give me weird looks at first because they think that you know, they've been indoctrinated just like I was, that communism's evil and it's wrong and it's, you know, a bunch of murderous dictators, you know, or whatever. But basically, to sum it up, as I was saying earlier, the working classes throughout history have always had to achieve their liberation. They've always had to have a scientific, objective view of the world, and to realize that the consciousness is subservient to the material. Mao says it really well. He says, the material world was here before our consciousness and still exists despite our consciousness, and still affects us and controls us and regulates us and has authority over us despite our consciousness. So the consciousness is subservient to the material. The material is not subservient to the consciousness. This is the Marxist view. This is the objective view, not the dogmatic view. And by studying our world, the science of the earth, the science of psychology, the science of sociology, how our society works, and how people interact with each other, and the certain laws of the universe, the laws of nature, the laws of society, like Newton's laws of gravity, by understanding these laws, and having an in-depth understanding of them, we can better influence our world and make it better. All of the secrets of the world, Marxism says, are fully knowable. And by knowing them, we can improve our material conditions. So I feel like there's so much more I want to say. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make another video on this. But that's most of what I want to say for now. Thank you for listening. I may add it at the beginning, but in case I don't, I got this book I wrote. Please support my work by buying a copy. There's an Amazon link. You can also Cash App me if you live in the United States, and I'll mail a copy to you. And the United States Communist website is, United States Communist Party website is in the description as well. Thank you.